Bridging the pay gap between men and women's golf has been a top priority for the LPGA for a while, but with events like the Drive-On Championship in Fort Myers and the increase in the yearly purse, some strides have already been made. However, the LPGA has taken a big hit with recent news suggesting that the tour may not return to Fort Myers next year. Things are getting interesting, so let's take a look. First up, is the Fort Myers event canceled? For the past few years, the Drive-On Championship has been one of the most successful recurring events that the LPGA has held in a long time. It has been held at the Crown Colony Golf Course in Fort Myers, Florida for the past 2 years, and there was a special feel to it since it had a big prize pool, unlike most women's golf events. However, there are reports that the Drive-On Championship will not be returning to Fort Myers next year, and there's a very good reason behind it. Fort Myers had specific rules that limited the general public from seeing the matches. For example, the rules prevented the event from being broadcast on live TV, and spectators were only limited to official members of the golf club. The event was streamed online though, and that's how most people saw it. But this was still not enough for the organizers to be happy. It was meant to be a pretty big moment as well. Since the last time the LPGA toured Fort Myers was 47 years ago, the Crown Colony Club said that they would love to host the LPGA next year or in 2024, but the LPGA itself is pretty opposed to that whole idea. For now, it seems like the LPGA will move on to a venue in either Miami or Arizona for next year's Drive-On Championship. Up next, how much money did each player earn at the CME Group Tour Championship? One of the most recent events held by the LPGA was the CME Group Tour Championship. Some of the top female golfers from all around the world participated, and it was eventually won by 25-year-old Lydia Ko from New Zealand. As you probably already know by now if you saw the event, Lydia took home a massive $2 million cash prize for winning the title. This was her third LPGA Tour win of the year, bringing her total career earnings to over $16 million and yearly earnings to over $4 million. She, along with Lorena Ochoa, became the only woman to ever earn over $4 million in a single season of golf. Leona Maguire took home around $550,000 for being the runner-up of the event. This might not seem like a lot, but for most women's golf events, this is even more than what the winner gets. 7-figure first place payouts are extremely rare in the LPGA, but this year, there were numerous tournaments with this payout. Anna Nordquist in third place earned $340,000. Georgia Hall and Jungun Lee earned $222,000 each. Padri Ananarukarn, Brooke Henderson, Hyoju Kim, and Gemma Dryberg all earned over $100,000. In total, 9 women won over $100,000, making it almost unprecedented payout by LPGA standards. Coming up, LPGA announces historic $100 million season. After receiving a lot of criticism over the massive pay gap between male and female golfers, the LPGA has just announced its tour for 2023, and it's going to have the biggest purse in the history of women's golf. Overall, the top female golfers will be competing for a total of $101 million in the 2024 season. This is absolutely massive and unprecedented, but of course, it's not as big as the PGA's budget, which will dish out over $100 million over the course of just 6 weeks in February. But it's still a massive step in the right direction. LPGA Commissioner Molly Marco Saman said that the following season is going to be the banner year for the LPGA Tour. The tour will be held in world-class golf courses that the LPGA has never visited before. Every single tournament will have a significantly elevated purse. There will be more events, including brand new ones, and over 500 hours of content will be broadcast on live TV. Events will take place in 11 US states and 12 countries. The first event will be held at the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions. Following that, the tour will go to Asia before moving back to the United States. There will be numerous events with purses over $5 million, and certain events will have purses as high as $11 million. This is going to completely change the game for women's golf in general. It'll certainly make it more popular, especially considering female golfers skew younger than their male counterparts. Despite Despite that, it could be a lot better. The LPGA won a lot of praise for increasing the purse to over $101 million for the next season. A lot of people called it a breakthrough for women's sports, and in many ways, that was true. But according to Shane Ryan of the Australian Golf Digest, much more needs to be done. Shane compared the LPGA to the PGA. Despite the similar names, the two tours are completely unlinked. Shane pointed out that in the top 100 of the PGA, the 100th ranked player, Steven Jaeger, still made over $1.2 million. In comparison, the 100th ranked player in the LPGA Tour, Rushin Liu, netted less than $20,000. This is clearly not enough. Simply playing golf costs a lot of money. You have to get memberships, training, experience, pay for travel, hotel costs, and so much more. You don't play golf for free, which is why the sport is mainly watched and played by the rich. Shane estimates that it costs anywhere from $125,000 to $150,000 for any LPGA player to get where they are. For them to not make enough money to even cover that cost is going to deter a lot of players from joining golf in the future. However, the writer pointed out that this was still a massive milestone for the LPGA in general. There aren't nearly as many sponsors, and the broadcast deals aren't as lucrative. Next, will there ever be a women's LIV? If there's anything that could potentially throw the LPGA and all of its most recent achievements off course, it's a women's LIV tour. The LIV tour has already been the bane of the PGA's existence, and the addition of a women's tour would also affect the LPGA for many of the same reasons. But for now, it doesn't really seem like a women's LIV tour is even being planned at the moment. Neither Greg Norman nor any of the top LIV players have said anything about the addition of a women's tour, but considering the PGA has the Women's PGA Championship, it could very well be a possibility. But if a women's LIV tour were to happen, there's no question in anyone's mind that its salary caps would far surpass anything we've seen from the LPGA. Even the $101 million purse for the 2023 season would start to seem like chump change in comparison. This is because LIV is backed by the Saudi government's International Investment Fund. The unofficial budget for LIV is worth billions of dollars for this year alone. LIV tried to give Tiger Woods, a single player, over $1 billion just to sign with them. LIV essentially has unlimited funding, and from what we've seen in the past, it wants to completely take over everything regarding golf. This could also mean LIV wants to dominate women's golf as well as men's golf. While PGA players were already pretty well paid as it is, LPGA players are not. LPGA players could easily be swayed by LIV money if something like that were to ever happen, which also might be why the purse was increased for 2023. And finally, female golfers talk about the prospect of a women's LIV. LIV CEO Greg Norman has previously stated that he's 100% interested in greeting a women's LIV. Most analysts seem to expect that. Sooner rather than later, a women's LIV will exist. We just don't know when. One of the top female golfers in the world right now, Carlota Ciganda, was recently asked what she would do if she was offered $5 million to go play for Saudi Arabia. She was a bit diplomatic with her answer. She said that she understands both viewpoints. She understands why certain players would want to stay with the LPGA, but at the end of the day, this is a job for many players, and they're gonna go whenever or wherever they're valued the most. She mentioned that if someone has an opportunity elsewhere, why not take it? Madeline Sagstrom said that the LPGA would be far more vulnerable to LIV than the PGA was. She doesn't think the tour will be able to survive in the presence of a much richer competition. However, the LPGA might not be as aggressive toward competition as the PGA was. LPGA Commissioner Molly Marco Saman said that if it meant pushing women's golf forward, she would be willing to work with LIV Golf. However, she would look at their intentions before making any big move. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think the LPGA will return to Fort Myers next year? Let us know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.